Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to week 2 of Kumite with Karate Combat. And we've got our guy, Chad Cannon, who was not featured in this week's episode because we talked about bantamweights as we've got up on the screen. But one of the things about the bantamweights, which is interesting, is I got a chance to meet this one of the gentlemen that you do see on here, Eric Sanchez. And Eric is from Olympic Karate. And if those of you who have done your sports karate homework, Olympic Karate is where Brian Ruth, old school sport karate fighter, old sport karate forms guy, so on and so forth, weapons guy, but he's one of his students. So I know you had a chance to kind of chat with him a little bit, Chad, and you were kind of like amazed when you found out, oh, another sport karate guy. What was that interaction like?
Yeah, it was pretty cool because, we were just talking a little bit about our martial arts background. I had mentioned, doing sport karate, point karate, and he'd asked about the Battle of Atlanta. Yeah, yeah. So he had asked about the Battle of Atlanta if I knew anything about that, and I was like, yeah, of course, man. That's one of my top tournaments. I love that tournament. So we just got to talking a little bit about, just a little sport karate history, events that we've done. Then he had also mentioned, Brian Ruth being his instructor, which was pretty cool. I know we talked last episode a little bit about how a lot of the sport karate martial artists coming into karate combat feel like at home. So it
Mm-hmm.
was really cool to have another fellow sport martial artist, knowing some of the same people who've gone to the same tournament, competing at the Kumite.
Yeah, I know that's pretty cool. Definitely has to make you feel more at home and everything, especially with someone. The familiarity, which will make you just relaxed and get the best performance out of you. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you, because this is pretty
Yeah,
much a recap. Of
of
course,
course.
this was week 2 of Kumite. You can go watch that at karate.com on their YouTube channel. It's there and available. It does premiere at 7 o'clock on Thursday. We don't want to show you the entire episode here, but wanted to, get your appetite ready to actually watch this. Of course, your second fight is coming up. Depending on what they show this week, we will find out when we get to Thursday. But for the time being, let's say you have somebody that's watching this, they're getting excited, they're like, man, this is something I want to do. What would be like the top 3 things you would suggest for someone who is considering this to do to prepare for Kumite?
Yeah, so I would really, number one, get your goals and your priorities set first. You know, um, I personally feel like the full contact journey, it takes a lot of dedication to your training, and you definitely have to have a set path in a way that you're going to get there. Because it's not point karate. It's 2 3 minute rounds where you're continually striking. I mean, of course, in point karate, you can get knocked out and injured too. But I personally feel like karate combat or kickboxing is a little bit more high risk. So it's very important that you have your goals in mind because there's a lot of guys that go out there and we feel like we can go and get into these full contact fights, do smokers, things like that, and end up getting hurt. It's just a different type of conditioning for your body.
Mm-hmm.
So one, uh, get a good goal in mind on what you want to do. That might be maybe doing a couple of, I know here in Texas, California, they do Muay Thai Developmental League tournaments where you're just going out there getting some experience, 2 2 minute rounds, no knockout, light contact, working your way up from the bottom. Even though a lot of us might be, high level point fighters,
Right.
full contact, it's a whole different game. So number one, getting a good plan together first, and then finding out good slow route to working your way up to getting more sanctioned fights or heavier contact fights. Um, Number two is finding a good full contact striking gym. Um, I would suggest more of a kickboxing gym.
Mm-hmm.
I started Muay Thai, so I'd been doing sport karate 15 plus years, and I got to a point where I was like, man, I don't know how to throw a correct jab, a correct cross, a correct hook. I've just been blitzing and doing sliding side kicks my whole life. But I wanted to fight full contact. So I started dedicating my time to ambush Muay Thai and really becoming a student again, to start learning, how to throw the correct boxing strikes. There's different footwork involved. There's different types of kicks. I feel like, any full contact fighter needs to know how to throw a correct teep kick, a correct tie round kick to the leg, to the body, to the head, correct knees, understand clinch. So that's a lot of learning that a learning curve that I feel like needs to be um, dedicated, the time into learning that type of stuff. Um, and I also feel like it's important too because, there's multiple strikes and angles that are different in full contact and that are on point karate. So, you have to be able to recognize where a kick is coming from, how to block it, how to counter it. So finding a good school and really dedicating some time to that craft and not rushing into it, I think would be number two. And then number three, I would say just kind of just going back to that journey, like developing a smart path in your full contact career, because, injuries happen, making sure your mind is just as prepared as your body as well. I think I would actually put as number three. So, once you've kind of got your goals set on what you want to do, find a good safe path where you can work your way up safely, then find you a good gym and a good coach that can start teaching you the good fundamentals, really dedicate your time to becoming a student again. And then three, really working on your mind and your body, so that you'll be prepared when the time comes.
I think those are three solid, good steps to get started. Chad, I certainly appreciate you here for this recap this week. We can't wait to have you back here next week. We'll see. Hopefully, your fight's on this week for Karate Combat. If not, we're going to be
Yeah.
reviewing a little bit more footage. Of course, as a reminder to everyone, Thursday at 7 o'clock at karate.com, or you can go to the karate.com YouTube channel and view it live. Chad, I can't wait to see what you got for us next. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I can't wait to have you guys watch the fight. It's gonna be awesome. Thank you again.